Wow, just wow. I never thought that I would think that a Toyota Corolla could be gorgeous, but I think this one is. Take a look for yourself. It's weird because it looks more European than some European cars, with a nice mix of sharp lines and curves that work together in a better way than I've seen on any Toyota that's come before it. But we need to remember that this is a Toyota Corolla, the most popular passenger car in Australia, and as a result it can't afford to be polarizing. But I think the designers have delivered with this car. It offers presence without being pretentious. We'll talk about the interior soon, but first let's talk about how it drives, because arguably that's an even bigger improvement than the styling is. The new Corolla is built on the Toyota New Global Architecture, or TNGA platform, which you'll also find under the CHR, Prius and Camry. It's lighter, stiffer, and offers a lower centre of gravity for better dynamics. I've driven most of the other TNGA products now, and I've got to say, this doesn't change my opinion that it could be the best thing that's happened to Toyota since the Prius. Gone is the old 1.8 litre in favour of a direct injection 2 litre engine, and it's a big change. We're talking 126 kilowatts of power and 205 newton metres of torque. And while those numbers aren't enormous, they are vast improvements on the predecessor. There'll be a hybrid version in every trim level of the Corolla sold in Australia, and we can expect Prius-like fuel consumption, so that means somewhere less than 4 litres per 100 kilometres. But even this 2 litre 4-cylinder version uses less than 6 litres per 100 k's on the combined cycle. Not only is it frugal, it's also pretty entertaining to drive. This engine offers a lot more gumption than we've seen from a Corolla for a while now. Gets along quite well. And the transmission is really smart too. It's a 10-speed stepped automatic CVT, and it's got a first gear that's a conventional first gear. So when you're in stop-start traffic, it doesn't feel like you're driving a CVT. There's none of that annoying lagginess and drone. It can drone a little bit at higher speeds, but generally it's pretty well behaved. There'll be a 6-speed manual version as well. It'll probably sell in very small numbers, but the CVT is the one you need to think about. And we didn't get a chance to drive the hybrid this time around, but we're sure that it'll be a big improvement on the existing hybrid. Perhaps the thing that's impressed me most about this new Corolla though is the suspension. It's McPherson struts up front and a multi-link rear end, and it feels really well planted on the road. Feels sophisticated to drive, which I don't think I've ever thought when I've been driving a Corolla before. The steering is pretty well weighted and it's decently accurate as well. You can really give it a punt and enjoy yourself. The car we're in now has 18-inch wheels, which we'll also get in Australia, and we've also driven the 16-inch wheel base model, and there's hardly any perceivable difference between the ride quality. It's quite surprising actually. This is maybe a little bit firmer than most people are expecting from a Corolla, but it's rewarding in other ways, so it justifies it. As for road noise, it's not too bad, not too intrusive. We're on pretty coarse chip roads right now, but the real test will be when we get it on Aussie coarse chip roads. So that's what it's like to drive. Now let me talk you through the interior, because it's all new as well. Toyota labels the cabin of this new Corolla as upscale, and it's easy to see why, particularly in this high-spec model. Things like a 7-inch screen in front of the driver with a digital speedo and an 8-inch screen up the top here, which has sat-nav in this spec. That's not all though. There are beautiful cabin finishes in the materials section, like this two-tone finish on the doors and on the dash, and it carries through to the seats. It looks and feels really pleasant in here. And they've thought of storage stuff as well. So there's a couple of cup holders down here, decent sized door pockets as well, and it's pretty good in the back. So let's take a look. Backseat space is definitely an improvement over the previous generation model. There's more knee room back here, although this is set in my driving position and there's not heaps of knee room. It's enough for me to be comfortable here for a couple of hours at least. Good tow room, and headroom's pretty good as well. Plus there's good storage. You've got these cup holders in the door pockets, which are about the same as you'll find in a Kluger, and you also get a fold down armrest with cup holders there as well. No rear air vents, not that big of a deal, it's a pretty small car, but you do get child seat anchor points by way of ISOFIX in the outboard seats and top tethers across all three as well. The boot is bigger too, with 300 litres of cargo capacity with a full-size spare, or 350 litres with a space saver. That's a good jump over the old model's 280 litres with a space saver. There's some really good news on the safety front, with auto emergency braking with pedestrian detection and bicycle detection fitted as standard. Plus you get adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, auto high beam lights and road sign recognition all included as standard. And of course, there'll be a reversing camera and 7 airbags too. Toyota is boldly claiming this new Corolla will remain Australia's best-selling passenger car, and having driven it, it's easy to see why. I think their crystal ball might be spot on, because this car is not only an improvement on its predecessor, it's also the best Corolla yet.